Back in 2017, Vertigo Games released their popular zombie shooter Arizona Sunshine on Sony's new VR headset, and despite a myriad of patches and DLC, to this day, it remains one of the most divisive games on the platform. Some people love it, some people hate it, and some people sent me death threats for pointing out all of its issues at launch. Well, luckily, not only has Vertigo Games gotten a bit better at making zombie games over the last 8 years, but VR technology has improved too, resulting in a sequel that's certainly far superior to the original, although still not without its faults. Arizona Sunshine was never about the story, and Arizona 2 isn't much different. Despite being written by the great Rob Yescombe of Invisible Hours and Farpoint fame, there isn't really that much of a story here. The main character talks incessantly, and I will say it's a minor improvement over the last game. After a while, you stop getting irritated by his one-liners and actually start feeling bad for him. See, the zombie apocalypse has been lonely. It made him desperate for any kind of human interaction. So when he meets Buddy, everything changes. You can pet him, play fetch with him, dress him up in silly hats, but more importantly, you can order him to attack specific zombies or grab items for you that are just out of reach, making the zombie apocalypse seem a little less lonely. Buddy does end up playing a significant role in the story later on, but it's, well, let's just say it's nothing you haven't seen before.
Look at that big dumb face.
That's all besides the point anyway, because Arizona Sunshine 2 gets the good stuff right, and that's hours and hours of zombie killing. Zombies that the main character insists on calling Freds.
Is there too much to ask for, you fucking selfish fuck, Freddy?
There's a pretty decent variety of undead character models here, and more than a few can be on screen at once. Going for headshots is obviously the way to go here, because that's how you kill zombies.
Which is also the way you kill anyone.
And I'm almost bummed that there are so many zombies, because you can get a little creative taking them down by chopping off their limbs or shoving grenades in their mouths. But with so many Freds coming at you, your main focus won't be on creativity, but on mowing them all down as fast as possible. So I'm happy to say that guns feel great with some nice adaptive trigger support and decent haptics from the Sense controllers. But with the campaign as long as this, it's actually really shocking that we didn't get any boss fights to break up the levels a bit. Now, no one's denying that killing truckload after truckload of Freds is fun all by itself, but if that's all you're doing for the 7-hour campaign, it's bound to get a little repetitive. So when I found out that Arizona Sunshine 2 gave you reasons to explore the environment, well, it set my little Dead Island heart ablaze at the thought of searching every corner of the map, checking every room, dumpster, cabinet, and drawer to find raw materials so that I could craft, let's see here, 4 types of explosives? Stick grenades, mines, Molotov cocktails, and frag grenades. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, but it seems like a massive missed opportunity. I mean, you've given the player a reason to take their time and explore, and then not really given them much to do with everything they found. Imagine if scavenging allowed you to craft, I don't know, upgrades for your weapons or permanent stat boosts. That sounds amazing. Making matters worse, you don't have a real inventory. In fact, it's the same exact inventory as after the fall, which means you can put 1 item in your left wrist and 1 item in your right, so you can barely take anything with you. So frequently I find a crafting station be loaded to the gills with raw materials, but both inventory slots were already full with a health item, melee weapon, or explosive, so there was no point in crafting anything, because I couldn't take it with me anyway. So if you're like me, after about an hour or two, you'll lose interest in exploring altogether, and only grabbing the raw materials that are sitting in plain sight.
Get him. Inferno. More like infern, yes.
Thankfully, the level design makes up for a lot of these issues. Sure, you'll be in the sewers way more often than you'd expect, and the sun-drenched neighborhoods of the Arizona desert get a little old after a while. But there are some great set pieces here, and plenty of memorable moments that I won't spoil for you here. It's clearly running at 120 reprojected, but as someone who's sensitive to that kind of stuff, it's not too bad here. Some of the areas look pretty damn good with great lighting effects and draw distances with plenty of details stretching out to the horizon, and others look, well, kind of bland by comparison. I'm a little confused why there are loading screens scattered around, considering they corral you into these little decontainment units that divide up sections of the game, which, as Red Matter 2 showed us, it's a great way to disguise loading screens. I know it's a minor complaint, but it's one of the many little things that ruin the immersion, like Buddy freaking out, or these white hens that appear when you're climbing. It's nice to see that Vertigo Games added the ability to climb around a bit. It's barely used for massive chunks of the game, and then used extensively in others, but the added VRAF mechanics certainly help Arizona 2 feel like more than just another zombie shooter. Now, if only we could have gotten a jump button, because for as VRAF as a lot of Arizona feels, being forced to teleport through windows and off ledges, that just feels silly. Music kicks into high gear for more intense moments. The sounds of your weapons have a nice kick to them, and yeah, the zombies make a lot of distinct zombie noises. Although, maybe it's just me, but I never seem to hear them sneak up on me.
Yeah.
I played about half of the 7-hour campaign solo, and the other half with Miles or AJ. The game was clearly designed for one player, with the narrative frequently mentioned being out there all alone in the world with just you and your canine companion, and even cutscenes that spawn both players into the exact same place. But if you can ignore all that, it's so much more fun with a friend. The gameplay does get pretty repetitive once you realize there's no real reason to explore, so having someone out there with you who will ooh and ah at all the ridiculous zombie explosions helps the time go by quite a bit. And with 4 difficulty levels, there's plenty of replay value here too. I played on the default medium difficulty, which was fairly easy, but there are 2 higher difficulty levels than that, which might give me a good reason to come back and try again. The 4-player horde mode is, unfortunately, exactly what you'd expect. Currently there's only one map, which you'll recognize from Arizona 1, and it takes upwards of 30 minutes to get challenging, which is just way too much time to commit to trying to beat a high score, so I doubt it's anything I'll be coming back to anytime soon. At $50, I was definitely hoping that Vertigo would have delivered a more polished, fleshed-out zombie game than Arizona Sunshine 2. The controls feel good, it's fun as hell to kill a ton of zombies, especially with a friend, and the adventure overall feels solid. But for every high there's a low, and those lows tarnish what would have otherwise been an excellent game. But despite all my complaints, it's still a good time, and there's so many memorable moments that every zombie fan should be checking this out. Just know that it's not the generational leap forward that you might have expected.
Who's a good little dog? Buddy for the win! Real nervous about my ammo situation. Good night, Freddy! Way to go, buddy! Oh, I sure could use some more ammo.